Hi there, and welcome to my Soul Authority channel. I'm Lorraine Van Tool, transformational life coach, holistic psychologist, and meditation guide. I'm staking out the safe spiritual space in solidarity so we can hear our authentic voice over all the noise and realign ourselves with clear choice. This is at the heart of Soul Authority. If you felt burned out and low, join us in rekindling our inner fires and getting back in the flow. Okay, hello for section 2. If you just jumped right to this meditation and are new to me, it's probably helpful to go to the meditation or the explanation, I guess, that comes right before this video that explains a little bit why fast forwarding to the moment of death is a really, really powerful way to understand what interferes between our minds and our bodies and our soul and all the things that we are responsible for healing and transforming. Not just responsible for, but we have the power, I guess, to alchemize. And we tend to get distracted by the triggers, by the things, by all the things that should and should not be this or that way, which are all true. It's not even a judgy should, but like are misaligned. But we are in a better position to work on all that's misaligned when we're not reactive and we make sure we're as aligned as possible and not spending our energy trying to rescue or carrying or doing things that are not really moving the needle. So that's what this is about. Doing still all the things that are important to us, give us meaning, but making sure the energetic boundaries are even more clearly aligned with your high self, with your mission, and all that. So that is little explanation of why really confronting this moment can be very, very potent. Still, the end goal is soul authority. My guides just, made it really clear. Your soul authority definition of could still be misinterpreted or perceived, misheld. Not even cognitive. It's just how far there's a glass ceiling, so to speak. We only have consciousness of terms and understand things based on our lived experience. So it was eye-opening to me that, to know not everybody has had a near-death experience or one that they remember. So let's do a little bit more of that work. So very, very cool. I'm gonna keep going back to this. So let's do it. Enough talking. So previous meditations, if you're new to the whole idea of setting up a sanctuary, go to some of the earlier ones. Setting up a sanctuary together, meditating a sanctuary together. You understand what the purpose is of the sanctuary and how we get in and how we use nature guides to backlight, and we use nature guides as a tuning fork to feel into what might be off, and all that is powerful. But now what we're going to do is use the nature guides and moment of death, kind of powerful, I guess. I don't know if it's a backlight or front light or inner light or center light. It's just a powerful light that will reveal some things that you may not have known about. Okay, so how we do that? We sit, and if you can lean against the back of something, that can help, because we can imagine leaning against a tree, which is central in our sanctuary, and it represents this paradoxical, expansive yin yang, which is something a lot of people more quickly can relate to. When I say mystery, paradox, it represents that kind of mind. And that mind is the spiritual mind. So when I say also we're going to be spiritual being having a human experience, it's critical that this is the center mind, not the good bad survival. But wouldn't you be mad if somebody yelled at you, da da da, or you're gonna lose your job? Wouldn't you sell your soul too, da da da? Right? That is all logic. And yes, all of those things. But what if that logic is more peripheral and wisdom is in the center? Because wisdom then would say, yeah, maybe if you're in a place that requires you to sell your soul, maybe, yeah, you should quit and trust that there is something else better for you where you're not needing to sell your soul or whatever, right? But the logic mind will not think that way. It will justify, no, I cannot do this. I have my kids, my da da da, all these people depend on me. So it is a little futile to be debating, because that kind of self will always be on the defense and justify their position. And it is justified. But if you center somewhere else, that wisdom can even aid that position, because ultimately, that ego mind, what does it want? It wants the money, the support, to survive, to thrive, to be happy, to support everything. So it would say, yeah, okay. However, there's a big price you pay. So how about you keep that in mind, but we're gonna be a little bit more resilient, more guerrilla, so to speak, like looking at things with different perspective, like undercover agent, like see where there's some openings and see how we can better your situation. Right? So it's not a sabotage, it's not defense, it's not contradiction, it's supporting, and it's creativity, it's resilience, it's perspective taking. So that's why we want that in the middle. It's mystery, it's growth, it's magic, it's all the things. So in your heart center is that tree. The tree is doing the same paradoxical thing, grows up and down simultaneously. There's no up without down, there's no down without up. And in the center, it's kind of like, to me, a kaleidoscope, like a yin yang dynamic that's constantly in motion. Like it gets too white and the black falls in the center, and it's too black, 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 hitting rock bottom, there will be a white. And then you touch too much, this is amazing. Oh God, everything, relationship, everything's amazing. And you get too attached, it's gonna be black. So that's how that goes. And the nice thing is, it's not static. Don't worry about it. If it grows towards black, believe me, there'll be a white, a rebirth. So that is the positive disintegration. It's the disintegration of too much darkness, shadow, as a result of maybe too much attachment, too much maybe suffering, pain, breaking down, losing things, grieving things, and then there'll be a new rebirth come in. So, as we all know, death is a natural process, the natural death. I mean, where you see people maturing or fast forwarding the spiritual growth if they have a certain diagnosis. But we also see that that's not a given, right? The ego mind can actually do the opposite. It can double down in a bad way, not double down with the guys, but double downing with, I gotta defend myself. And that is, what the guys, I thought that was kind of very, very cute and clever, called it. They put the pain and the trash in the compactor, not the composter. So that is when we like, oh, I'm gonna be angry, you hurt me, and I'm just gonna use that, kind of what you see a lot around us, to get my way. Use my pain as a weapon, as a tool, as a way to split and keep you separate and scapegoat you and all that. So that is dirty pain, that's fundamentalist, that's false empowerment, that is the younger self having sort of a tantrum, all the things, right? And so we're going to look a little bit more deeply in these tendencies. Other tendencies are the body and mind getting split, and the body being disloyal, or to the mind and soul, or soul being disloyal to the body and mind, because it doesn't feel as productive, effective, safe, as basically it feels safer to be inauthentic, to manipulate, to figure out what is makes the most sense in a transactional business, whatever way, rather than speaking your truth, standing up for yourself, and all the things. So all that falls apart when it's just between you and your God, right? You have nobody to impress, nobody to convince of others, whatever. Between you and your soul, and the body might say, "Where are you?" This is not a good position. You have all these energies coming in, and you're not powerful enough, or this doesn't feel right. So it's that kind of thing. Sometimes the body comes in, but it's too in and out and too situational. So it might look like a suction cup or something that strengthens the connection between the roots and yourself. So these are a few options. Let's see what else comes in as we do this exercise and approach that point of death. So first, we're going to sit with the tree. And that tree is in the center of your sanctuary, and the sanctuary has all the elements present, just like in your body, mind, body, heart, soul. And we have air, fire, earth, and water. Where air and mind are correlated, fire and your energy, boundaries, earth and your bones and cells and body, actions also, and water, it's kind of your waterways, the cleansing, emotions, recycling, renewing, and all these come together where, especially fire, right, as we coming down from earth, to fire to the earth coming, sort of, if you think of this as a actual physical, sort of um, air and sun fire on top of the earth. So we're coming down, we're breaking things down through fire. We vegetation, all the things, death, decay, sort of fertilizing the earth and helping it stay alive. And once the earth is alive, then the waterways will do what it's supposed to do. They will be guided, protected. The riverbeds, all the streams, all the irrigation will function properly, right? And you have less of these flash floods, which is sort of what we say when we're drowning in emotion, overwhelmed. Nothing is really doing anything. No seeds are growing, no new insights, just like over and over sort of unproductive grief. But if you sort of go to the cycle and really setting the new boundaries and really looking at where your human survival, the matrix that you've been in, the conditioning that you've gone through is really being challenged, broken down, realigned, then you're able to go deeper and make your earth more alive. Your tree's going to grow deeper roots, and you're able to become a stronger tree with higher branches and expand more. So that's what we're doing in the sanctuary. So we're sitting with the tree. As you know, I'm going to zoom in now. That was a lot of zoomed out guidance. Now the guides are going to give you zoomed in guidance and have you pay very close attention to sensations in the body. So you're sitting with the tree, trying to be as balanced in spreading out your energy top, bottom, left, right, front, back, kind of like you're in yoga or your, Tai Chi or dance or whatnot. You want to become very body aware. You're leaning against the tree. So this is also, you might be actually standing up very balanced and fine in terms of front and back and top and bottom, but the leaning and resting against the tree is on purpose because we tend to be a little bit hovering or ready to jump out of our skin, I think, so to speak, and ready to go, and not really resting and relying and being suction cupped, sort of. We say we're rooted and everything, but we're ready to jump. So the guide said to really be rooted in your tree and also really trust and lean back. So this is kind of what we, I think, sometimes refer to as surrendering. And we surrender periodically, but really what I mean when I say 51% in the sanctuary is 51% trusting so much, being vulnerable, being okay with uncertainty, and 51% is like surrendering that the universe has your back. Your tree has your back. You have your back. that being in alignment with wisdom, with all of that, is really the ultimate answer. Even if nothing around you that happens, especially if you're in a house of crazy mirrors, which we are right now, if nothing around you is reflecting this, you trust it so much in an embodied experience that you're not budging. So that's the ultimate surrender. And yeah, you're going to be pulled out of it, but as long as you stay 51% there, you can use that to backlight what you're dealing with and you'll trust that clarity. So that's what we're doing. And to deepen this feeling, we're going to have the top of your body connect to the upper part of the tree, the branches, the leaves reaching upward and outward towards the sun, the star, ancestors, and beyond. And really here, clearing, opening up all the, clearing the obstructions and opening up as much as we can, just like little leaves of a tree. It made me think of an experiment. This is so crazy. Like if you like plant a tree like in a little like artificial like tunnel where there's no direct light, kind of, because it's blocked with these 90-degree angles, the tree still knows how to get to the light, right? It's like amazing. So it's kind of like that. We are reaching like totally like reaching upward and outward to life and the light, and that's our only mission. And so you're plugging in and you just feel that direct connection between that light coming in and you absorbing it like the tree. There's no ego. There's not, do I deserve it? Can I grow? Am I good enough? Am I smart enough? You have just one mission, just like you did when you were a baby. There's only one mission, and that's to sit, stand, walk, right? It's kind of like that. Doesn't matter how many times you fall, that's beside the point. So that's what we're doing. One mission up, then then we're dropping into the legs, the feet, the toes, the roots, and we're gonna do the same, just like a baby, similar. You're hungry, you need food, physicality, you're organic, sort of little creature. You need food. You need that kind of physical energy, stay alive. So we get that from the earth, and also from the earth in the sad experiments they did with monkeys, but still, or maybe, I don't know, not to justify it, but at least we learn something really valuable, that it's the physicality is not just the nutrients, or actually it's even like the nutrients and all that are less important than the hug, than the comfort, than the attachment. So that's how important that is and how much it can be used against us too, right? In terms of do this and do it my way or you won't belong or I'll outcast you, da 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 da. So we really need to look at that kind of interference, and how that was used and derailed us in so many ways. It's not till we face the moment of death that we like, whoa, do I want to keep doing all these detours? It's not really necessary. But anyway, that's all a little bit more about Earth, and our physical survival, where you're now having a human experience. You're having a human vessel as a spiritual being, and you're walking, trying to stay matched or stay aligned, connected with this human body to make sense of what your spirit can be learning from this, what it's all about, what the pain is about, what the suffering is about, what the happiness and joy is about. So that is the human experience we're having, and it involves food, physical food that is manifested, that's made from both the combination of the sun, the earth, doing the thing together. So you can even think of it as mother, father energy in the oldest, most ancient, most abstract sense of the word. And you are this perfect child, the combination of these two. And you have a lot of fathers, mothers in between that kind of interfere because they all had interference that made it difficult for them to stay in pure connection to earth and sun. And then each of them left not just you, our archetypes, our societies, and with an impression what father is, what mother is, what human is, and messed a little bit with this human potential or imprint that has not even fully been actualized, but and it's coming closer and closer, maybe has in some ways or not. So we're all still trying to figure it out and trying to be our best version. So that is setting you up with earth, and sky, the above and below in your heart, because this is then going to be your compass. But we want to do a little bit more adjusting because these misalignments are so common due to the split being a higher focus on the material, on the upper parts, the mind, the body, the actions, the products, the value that's given, the worth that's given, in compared to the composting or what's underground, the wisdom, slow growth, the harm, right? It's sort of like collateral damage, climate change, all the things. As long as we're doing this, we're making money, we're successful, we have status, all the things. So we're trying to balance that at our heart center, where we're seeing that, backlighting that, part of that. Nobody's immune, but not over identifying with it and making different choices whenever we can. So now with air, fire, earth, and water, we continuously keep backlighting, keep understanding where we got sucked in and where we're still uh, walking a little bit, too much in the polarized or materialistic, whatever views of reality. And with the help of fire, what we're going to do now is see where we can set limits with the false stories in our head or the pressures all around, et cetera, et cetera. Once we have made those realignments, we can set new action steps or new ways of thinking. We become more and more aligned versus blind in our actions. And then with water, things will grieve and flow and excite and all of that in more and more potent ways. Okay, so we did, like I said, air, looking at things, understanding what needs further disintegration. Now we're gonna actually feel into this moment more deeply and see what fire exposes. So let's do it together. Um, so we are now imagining more and more in your soul sanctuary. You're already invited to do that and cut ties and really take full responsibility of your sanctuary. Know the boundaries. If people trigger you, or you think of people, you kind of envisioning them having their own sanctuary, you have your own sanctuary, and just engagement. So all that is happening, but this is more potently might reveal where things are bleeding through and you didn't even know. So we're on the fire side and we're now concentrating and amping up, really uh, letting feeling sensations becoming more and more pronounced, especially the feeling, the awareness that is now between us or God, body, soul, mind, heart, all of that. And we're totally focused on unfinished business. On what is it that I could still do in these 24 hours that would really help with this upcoming trip and wherever I end up after that. So I'll tell you a few scenarios that I think are pretty universal, but especially I think these 5, will be quite relatable. So the first thing might be you realizing how often you might not be in the body or just coming in and out and not really even considering it fully your home base. And the reason for that is, and I'll show how it's the dominant perspective, but how we could even switch that perspective. But some of these perspectives around not coming in and out, it's uncomfortable. Uh, I don't belong. It feels like it doesn't belong. It's dangerous. And when we checked in with body, soul, just between those two, like meaning ask your body, does a different soul belong in here? Or does my soul belong in here? Ask your soul, do you belong to that body? Right? It's pretty straightforward. It's yes. Is it safest to be in that body or floating around or somewhere else? It's safest in the body. So what was revealed was not that it's not safe in the body. It at a young age was not safe to be as powerful as you were, even if it was just crying and screaming, uh, because that was usually and most likely your powerful, most intuitive self reading the room, reading the energy, and saying, hell no, get me out of here. Or like, what is wrong? What is going on? I'm not safe energetically. And the people around you, instead of seeing you as a truth sayer or, like looking at themselves or doing whatever, they fought that tooth and nail. Most of the time, my people are quite, like, it's just a big gap between their consciousness and the people who raised them or their social groups. So it comes across as colicky baby or baby with problems or child or all kinds of issues instead of, they don't have words yet, but maybe they're onto something. This can lead to all kinds of feelings, even if they're, let's say, not malicious. You could start concluding at a young age, like, I don't belong. So often people in my groups joke and say, "Oh, you were also switched at birth at the hospital." That was me. I totally felt that. It's like, where did this family come from? So that's the feeling of not belonging, because there is no one able to receive your consciousness, your your awake state, or your woke state, or whatever you want to call that. Um, so you have that feeling, then it can get worse. If you're threatening to them because they don't want to know, they're going to shut you down. They're going to try. Either yell, punish you, emotionally abandon you, mock you, uh, don't attend to your needs, criticize you, compare you, and not just parents, because they're not, you know, who they are due to some vacuum. There's circles and circles and circles of influence that they were subjected to, have been embedded in, and have probably not totally differentiated from and done their full work with, examined, discarded, disintegrated, all that. So they're also um, operating from a place that is diminished, and sometimes feel completely convinced that they're helping you by trying to shrink you or discourage you or be afraid of something or tell you you won't achieve this or that will never happen, all that. So that is what causes us to feel like we're not safe in the body, but our body is the safest place. So here we are reframing um, all of our body wisdom, no matter how hard, how helpless, how ashamed, how confused, how enraged, how all the things, horrible things you felt, you're just like, defeated, self-sabotaging. All of it is body wisdom, not justifying all the behaviors, all the things that, we did, but the wisdom in it of itself is safe. That's on our side. So once we really fully embrace that wisdom, we're more likely to make wise decisions with it, especially if we had lived experience of what wasn't working. So that is on belonging and safe. The other thing that happens often, especially when we end up bitter, abandoned, despairing, enraged, sad, disappointed, is now gonna make sense. So that pain, instead of putting it in the composter and understand that we're adults, we don't rely on anybody. So compost it and learn, oh, that means I want the opposite. I want respect. I want to treat with spaciousness. I want to be supported. I want to be, loved, admired, seen, da 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 da. What we end up doing is punish, harden the pain, and we get all entangled with the person who does this sort of to us and feel like, well, it's our job. I need to teach them, need to wake them up. But the ulterior motive is only if they change will I then get what I deserve. So there's a lot of defending. There's a lot of stories around somebody's got to speak up and somebody's got to do this. And honestly, just think about it. Do you really think they're just gonna wake up by you calling it out? Yes, limits can be set legally, all the things, but I honestly think um, all that we're seeing now is, I mean, to be expected. It's sort of like setting limits with a balloon or something, like you're pressing it in, but nothing really shifted. So at some point, it's gonna push back out and be forceful, especially if it gets bigger and bigger. So there's a different way. I'm not saying we did anything wrong. I don't even know if it's necessarily gonna happen in the future, but the more authentic, aligned, truthful, patient, way would be to disintegrate somehow. I don't know how now, but if we somehow can contribute to that disintegration, that would be a better bet. And it may or may not happen. I don't know. I'm just the only way I'm able to even remotely feel like it might shift something is honestly through loving kind of sort of meditation that involves a lot of worms, which I've told you guys about. I just send the worms to help compost, right? Instead of compact. So that is one way. So the other thing that might happen is this sense of being at capacity, and exhausting to be in the body, and sort of this overwhelming when I'm one in the body, and not only my pain, but there's like no energetic boundaries. And there's ego involved in that because the ego has a little bit of sort of rescuing savior kind of story that it's tied with, and also it's misaligned because it doesn't really value the impermanence of nature. So not only want to rescue it, it's still driven by the pain, the thing it can, sort of relate to that isn't fully composted. So now it can project it, it can find out all these people, who are in this suffering and they're going to help, sort of um, lock it down, sort of the white, so to speak. And then there's a huge, big struggle, ego wise, to maintain and preserve this exalted, higher, whatever, pain free state. And of course, that is not realistic. So there's going to be shadow building, and there's going to be like you trying to fight the waves in the ocean from doing up and down and whatever. It's just a crazy fight that you're never going to win, right? Uh, but more importantly, it prevents you from getting on sort of that composting cycle for yourself and let go of, you know, anybody you want to save. You recognize how silly that is because you just need to save yourself. So when you have only 24 hours to live, you're like, uh, yeah, that's irrelevant. What do I need to do? I need to start focusing more on myself. If I learn that lesson, then in my next life, hopefully I'll do that more. And once I've done that, I'm in a good place. Then I can help others, not by, sort of saving them or trying to make a fluctuating sort of growth situation more permanent. I'm trying to help them by sort of seeing them the reality of things so they can recycle better and they see life, as constant, up and down disintegration, as constant as the 3 meals a day that you eat. They're beautiful, they're intact, they smell amazing, and then they not when they come out the other end, right? It's like that. It's like a continuous cycle. Why would you wanna I wanna keep my croissant in this croissant state for the rest of my life? Like how is that gonna help you? It needs to be broken down. You say it's smelly, needs to do its thing, and a new birth and cycle and growth and creation because it goes to earth and it's planted and then you have the whatever wheat and things, chocolate or whatever's in your croissant, right? It's a whole cycle, constant. So when we understand that, then we're not latching on to make any stage permanent. So those were the big lessons that came through. Like I said, the other one was like, okay, get it. Here's where I belong and all that. But as soon as we even imagine like the hardest situation, the most triggering situation, or getting out of meditation, even, it's like back to default. So that's where the suction cup, my guides had like saying to me, I don't think you really get what the roots are doing, what it means to ground. Like, let's try with a suction cup. And then I try to walk my talk and come out of meditation and suction like how that like can't lift the cup and put it back down. So there's like, okay, now I get what the roots are supposed to do. I need to stay there. Like, yes, you need to stay rooted, stuck in there, not just like, okay, let me root with my tree and get grounded because I'm now a little triggered and I feel ungrounded. It's like a default, like a new default, 51%. And then it's really going to help when things get a little tough. But what I found, if you stay here, you're not even sort of blindsided or, out of nowhere, like, how did I get into this place? Because it just prevents it from the get-go. So that's maybe for advanced people, a new learning curve to try out and what it means. Like, again, you've heard me say these things many times, but now you might have new meaning. That's what it means to be there 51% of the time and not try to feel more grounded, like 75. Now I feel so grounded. No, it's okay to be even a little wavering as long as you're 1% more and 90%. You sustain it, your confidence will build. You don't have to be perfect. You don't be perfectly solid. Your voice could squeak, or you could be like quiet, or as long as you're 51% there, it's all fine. And 90% of the time, like let's say somebody really flustered you and really egomaniac or whatever, what can happen is like, oh man, they made me feel like trash and so I failed, I wasn't grounded. No, you're supposed to feel all those things when you're with somebody who treats you that way. To me, 51 grounded just means you're not defending yourself. You're not trying to change it. You're like, okay, yeah, that's going on. You trust yourself for having those feelings. And then you also do set limits and protect yourself by sometimes you may decide, okay, I'm not even engaging with this person or I'm not even doing whatever, right? That is all 51%. And you do this 90% of the time in all kinds of situations, your confidence will really, really get boosted. And you will also not intensify any potentially tricky are loaded, charged kind of situations or dynamics with people. So see where there's room for growth in that. And I also highly recommend uh first working through that in your meditation by imagining those scenarios, maybe imagining hashing out a conflict and staying 51% of the time in your sanctuary. So what that would look like is you're not like defending, you're really expressing your need. You see if they have space for you or can integrate what you're saying and even hear what you're saying. You can have a little bit of a back and forth negotiation if needed, but it feels spacious enough, not like they're at capacity and they just can't hear you in their capacity because they're trauma and their capacity because they work, they're stressed, they're this, that, all the other, all this happening, and you need to just hear them out and support and support and support. That's somebody who has no space for you. Or they could be totally transactional, not like that at capacity, but they're trying to sell you something or get something out of you, and as soon as you could test it, as soon as you say, yeah, I could do that, but I'm not in a position to buy this or do that or whatever anytime soon, and you see if their focus shifts, or if somebody else is like a better candidate or whatever, suddenly that's their bestie, or things like that. That's somebody also who has no space for you. You're just an object to be used, transactional, or a love object, whatever the thing is. So be savvy and look at all these dynamics, and you'll get more clarity again when it's just between you and yourself, you and your soul. And when you're fully committed, you'll see very easily if somebody's fully committed not just to their soul, but is operating from a paradoxical, sort of mysterious perspective where they can at the same time have space for 1,000 other souls and not feel at capacity, because it's not a either or zero sum sort of weird calculation that the logical mind does. It's a paradox. It's like the drop is the universe the drop. You and me are one, but we're still separate. It's union and united and still unique and all the things. So hopefully that makes sense, and it makes sense how ego death, which is more linear, operational, polarized life and death, is important to keep your body alive, but is a sidekick, is it's an operator, it's helping this very expansive mind, it's not interfering with. So we're not technically killing it, as I often say, but when you're doing this near death exercise or are in your sanctuary, you see where it interferes, where it gets in the way, where its freakouts about life, death, cause it to not be as agile and resilient as you would like it to be. But once it is, and can do the perspective shifting, the shape shifting, it's not locked in, it's not compacted, it's not rigid in the story of how things should be, then you're in a good position. Then you want that ego to support, and that ego will support your spiritual being, your mind, to the best of its abilities. You need that even. I think Jill, forget her name, but she has this TED Talk, My Stroke of Insight, and it was so eye opening, where she almost was able to discern the two brains, where she had the stroke, the other part was still alive, and that was this brain, this more expensive brain without the ego. And she was just like la di da di da, and the ego was like, "Come on, Rolodex, come on, numbers, let's call for help." She's like, "Eh." Look at the walls, the colors, or whatever. It's hilarious, right? So these two need to work together. We cannot function when the ego is dying, but when the ego is aligned and serving, and both we respect both equally, then we're in a great, great position. So hopefully this was helpful. Fast forwarding to the point of death and seeing where your ego self can align even better, how to, be light, be grounded about, your pain, the things that you're going through, but don't lock it in, don't use it as a tool, don't get over attached to it. Just take the wisdom, gather the wisdom out, and then, with air, just let it go. Take it to your little patch, have it fertilize whatever you're growing, and you'll continuously grow and expand. And you can call this like post-traumatic growth, you can call it seasons, you can call it healthy grief, all the things, or spiritual development with the healthy ego death and the positive disintegrations. It's all good. My soul authority model, which some of you know, some of you are maybe new to, is doing this in a very simple way with air, fire, earth, and water and your tree guide. Same exact thing. We're just looking at playing around, using different models, different perspectives to deepen our understanding of how it ties with other traditions or just life. People can be very spiritual with not going ever to a therapist or any counselor, just, seeing people get sick, die, like the Buddha. So it's nothing special, it's just life. It's life that we can learn from. Okay, so now let's sit with our tree. Let all of these insights take deep, deep root into our consciousness. Know this is our most upgraded, updated self. And then slowly retrace our steps. Bring your attention back to the room you're in, stretch a bit. Find yourself coming fully in the room. Bring your brain, your mind back to your normal thinking, conscious, operating, active mind. When you feel fully back in the present moment and what you're about to do, connected to your environment, open your eyes when you're ready. Thank you for joining me today in staking out spiritual space in solidarity and in community. Please share this video and the Zoom link below with anyone who would love some support in hearing their authentic voice over all the noise and realign with clear choice. I offer me time through meditation virtual meetings every second and fourth Monday of the month from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. PST. If you would like deeper and more personalized guidance, how to heal, love, lead with Soul Authority, please visit me at soulauthoritycoaching.com or thesacredhealingwell.com for more information.